The White House appears to think its success in Gaza will have a direct bearing on ending the Ukraine war. It's sadly wrong. Putin was never going to bend to Trump so easily. Follow this channel, ECOchnneltv, for more updates on international news. The White House appears to think its success in Gaza will have a direct bearing on ending the Ukraine war. It's sadly wrong. Now that he's facilitated a ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas, President Trump is already moving on to the next item. He's a man in a hurry, and while his bid for the Nobel Peace Prize may have failed this year, he has no intention of letting his foot off the pedal. The next conflict to be solved, by Trump's own admission, is the even deadlier war in Ukraine. "We gotta get that one done," Trump said during his speech to the Knesset this week. "If you don't mind, Steve Witkoff, let's focus on Russia first, all right?" The Trump administration is optimistic about the president's ability to get the war in Ukraine settled. If Trump could pressure Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas into a deal, the reasoning goes, then what's stopping him from working similar magic on Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky? The president held a phone call with Putin on Thursday, ahead of a meeting with Zelensky in the White House on Friday. In a social media message after the call, announcing that the Russian and U.S. presidents will meet in Budapest, Trump even made the point explicitly, "I actually believe that the success in the Middle East will help in our negotiation in attaining an end to the war with Russia-Ukraine." Unfortunately, international diplomacy doesn't work like that. While there may be some similarities between the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, they both started off as a despicable act of aggression. The differences are so numerous that one wonders why U.S. officials would even bother trying to extrapolate lessons from one war to the other. For starters, this whole conversation might be premature. What Trump and his advisors have broadcast as the beginning of a new dawn in the Middle East is in reality a first-phase agreement whereby the shooting stops, the remaining hostages are released, and discussions on the more hard-nosed political and security questions, how Hamas disarms, which countries will contribute to the interim security force in Gaza, and how the transitional Palestinian technocratic government will work, can proceed. To date, none of this has been negotiated because the mediators didn't want to link the release of hostages to tricky questions that may or may not get answered. Given that Trump is already talking about allowing Israel to resume fighting if the deal isn't implemented, one wonders whether the joy we've been feeling in the last days will soon evaporate. But even if the Israel-Hamas truce holds, there isn't much evidence that Trump can reapply the success he had in Gaza to settle the war in Ukraine. The incentives, stakes, and personalities aren't the same. The war in Gaza was in many ways in a league of its own. The devastation the Israeli military inflicted over